Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner, and this is stage 2 of Tour of the Basque Country, País Vasco. Let's get straight to it, guys. Let's give the Knucklehead Award right away because you guys saw it as soon as I saw it. We turned on the TV screen. It's Movistar on the front. The Spanish team is incredible how many times they win the Knucklehead Award on the Butterfly Effect. What are they riding on the front for? They have nobody in the top 10 after yesterday's time trial. You got Primož Roglic here, last year's Vuelta winner. Tadej Pogačar, last year's Tour de France winner. I mean, what do you need to ride the front for on a stage like today? Okay, they're going to ride for Alejandro Valverde, and you're going to go, Chris, he just got done winning last week, or actually 2 days ago or 3 days ago when they were there at GP Miguel Indurain, but that was a different quality field than we're talking about here at the Basque Country. I already told you, this is the best general classification field in the world bar the Tour de France. This is an amazing classification of riders here. Today's stage, 155 kilometers long, one Cat 2 that's going to start with 20K to go before the finish. It's only 7 kilometers thereabouts and 6.5% if I remember correctly, but it's twisty, it's narrow, and it's a nice climb for us spectators. A climb that's a category 2 like today will leave plenty of action for us to enjoy and on a crazy descent to follow. Now, Movistar's riding the front. The break's got about 4 minutes up the road, 7 guys. The natural flow of the group, and Movistar, of course, being the knuckleheads they are, they'll pull the group back before the start of the last climb. I want to point out something here. 2 guys could be disqualified on today's stage. They're both first and second on general classification. Primož Roglic throws a bottle off to the side of the road before the climb starts. That could get him disqualified. We saw it already at Tour of Flanders with Michael Scher when the Swiss rider got ejected out of the race for just tossing his bottle to a spectator. So, are you going to DQ first place on general classification for throwing his bottle? I think it's ridiculous. Of course you don't DQ him, but they've already set the precedent that they have. And you know Michael Scher is going to be upset when he's seen multiple riders tossing bottles and no one's getting ejected except for him. Now, who's the second? Well, I already told you it's first and second on GC. So it's Brandon McNulty. He's bridging across on the climb and he's in the TT position riding with the bars here on his wrist instead of both hands on the bars, which is the new rule starting from April 1st. So 2 guys could already be thrown out of the race. At this moment, we haven't even finished the stage. 5K before the Category 2 climb starts with 20 kilometers to go. When they start fighting, they're curb to curb. All the main teams are up there in the front. What I noticed right away is Jumbo Visma is up there with Primož Roglic, but he's not with a ton of guys. It's not like he has his whole 7-man team up there of Jumbo Visma guys. I see 1, 2. I see him. Maybe occasionally I see Jonas Vingegaard back there, but he's in a green jersey, a green special jersey that he collected from yesterday's time trial stage. So he's a little bit incognito back there, but he's around. They're not on the front. They're not really driving like you would normally see at last year's 2020 Tour de France, where Primož Roglic always had Martin up there. Tony Martin, the TT German World Time Trial Champion, riding the front for him. Super domestique. Doesn't have that here. He's isolated, right? He's got a good team. Not completely up there all by himself, but it's not what we're used to seeing from the 2020 race winner and Grand Tour stage winner, Primož Roglic. That 5K before the Category 2 starts, they're curb to curb, and this is the part of racing that I really love. I go into this zone where all I'm focused on is what I see from here in front of me. I'm focusing on always trying to follow the car that's in front of the peloton leading the way. And when you start to see those cars make that right turn, that's when you know that climb's going to start. We have a computer, of course, that's giving us distances. The director is yelling in our ear in the radio, and he's calling it out. It's 5K before the climb. He'll call out 3K before the climb, 2K, 1K, 500 meters. That's quite common if you've got a really good director back there in the car. But sometimes they get it wrong. So when it's chaos like that, curb to curb, and you know this Category 2 is going to be important, My eyes are focused on what's happening with the riders in front and the furthest car that I could see that's part of the caravan. I'm watching everything else as the road's narrowing and widening, and maybe spaces where I can pass from the left or the right, or where I can just kind of salmon my way up through the group there to get myself to the front. I love that feeling. Okay, when you're in that zone, you're not thinking about anything else at home. You're not thinking about bills, and you're not thinking about what is life about. All you're thinking about is the bike racing. You're 100% focused. I love the adrenaline feeling. I love how my eyes just start to open up, and I'm trying to see everything around that's happening on the road that's coming up to me. Now with 19K to go, they'll make that right turn and they'll start that climb, and that climb's narrow, it's twisty, hard turns. Right away, you'll see Bora Hansgrohe throw up at first attack, and it's FDJ rider David Gaudu, who's a fabulous climber and just always knocking on the door here at general classifications to see if he can get that big win. He doesn't have a lot of wins, but where he's always knocking on the door. Who follows the French rider? It's none other than last year's Tour de France winner, Tadej Pogačar. He's driving it and going across the gap. And they swing into one of the hard hairpin turns. And here was the problem on today's stage. It was cold, wet, and that makes for slippery roads here in Spain. When they go into that turn, Richard Carapaz is behind. He probably overlapped somehow with one of those guys in the turn. Took out his front wheel, I'm guessing, and hit the deck hard. He's going to spend the rest of the day chasing. Ineos Grenadiers is not going to go 1, 2, and 3 on the general classification at this quality field in the Basque Country. They'll survive on today and keep someone on GC with Adam Yates. He's staying back there quiet, but Richard Carapaz is gone. So there is no Ineos domination at the Basque Country. Up front, the gap's getting a little big there to last year's Tour de France winner, Tadej Pogačar. Primoz Roglic knows he has to close it, and he jumps across and closes the gap. Next to go is the Bora Hansgrohe rider, Max Schachmann. Paris-Nice winner. Won stages already here at the Basque Country 2 years ago. This guy is quality rider. Primoz Roglic knows he's at the Basque Country. Cannot let that rider go. He immediately covers it, and we get a great quartet of riders up there. Sergio Higuita from EF Education's there. Primoz Roglic, I said. Max Schachmann. And the American kid, Brandon McNulty's up there. Now, this is one problem that Brandon McNulty has. He goes into the little TT mode there in order to close that gap. That's where he could be DQ'd. We'll have to see what they say. I checked out in Cycling News after the stage finish. I haven't seen any disqualifications of either Primoz or Brandon McNulty. Can you imagine this? The UCI officials come in and they say, hey, you guys got to go home. Up front, the action stays thick, huh? They're going up the climb. What I notice a lot of times, Primoz Roglic is not back there with his whole Jumbo team that's controlling this field. He's got one guy back there still, Jonas Vingegaard. We saw him at the Vuelta last year. He was great. He time trialed fantastic yesterday, but he just does not have the best of form on today's stage for sure. It looks like he's hurting back there. You'll never see him on the front from the beginning of that climb all the way to the finish line. You'll see him even lose time when they come into the finish line. Now, those four will go over the top of the climb. It's a crazy descent, guys. In these conditions, again, things are coming up fast and quick, and you have to make the right decision at the exact moment. When it's raining and slippery, it's easy to know everyone's going to go into every turn slow and easy. But today's not really a rainy day. It's a bit of a drizzle. One turn could easily be wet. One turn can be dry. Each rider has to make that decision, especially the rider on the front. He has to make that decision immediately whether or not if he's going to throw the bike into that left or right hard switchback. Is he going to throw it in there hard with speed or because it's dry, or is he going to back off because it's a little bit wet? All four of the leaders there going over on the descent, they take the descent easy and they'll get caught from behind. You'll see one crazy left-right turn that's all broken up and cut and slid up there with concrete blocks there. That's a dangerous turn to make in the wet, so that's why the four leaders are backing off. Primoz Roglic knows you cannot win the Basque Country on today's stage, but you can definitely lose it if you crash. Smart decision by Primoz Roglic. All day long, from what I've seen, All the way up the climb and down the descent, Primoz has made fabulous decisions. They haven't ridden much with their whole team at the beginning of the stage. They positioned them good enough to start the Category 2 climb. He covered the most important two riders, Tadej Pogačar, Max Schachmann. They were very important to cover those moves. He covered that himself. Every other move that went or gapped, he stayed behind and never touched the wind. This was kind of crazy. When we get down the descent with 10 kilometers to go, it's Team Astana that really throws in an impressive dig. They got multiple numbers, I believe at least 4 riders in that group of what's considered the peloton now of about 20-25 guys. Astana first attack with Fraley. He doesn't go too far that fast. Then it's Alex Aramburu, the Spanish rider, racing in the Basque country that throws in the counterattack after his teammate Fraley is brought back. Tactically, this is why this is a beautiful move, and why it works is because nobody back there has massive numbers except for Astana. Bora Hansgrohe will do some chasing. Bike Exchange will also do some chasing on the descent. EF Education with Hugh Carthy will do some chasing. I don't like this tactic, okay? Let Alex get as much time as he possibly can, steal the race leader's jersey. In the later stages, that will force Primoz Roglic back there to have to chase or have to attack on the next stages if he wants to get this jersey back. Instead, EF Education panic, Bora Hansgrohe panic, Bike Exchange panicked earlier on the descent. Those guys saved the race leader's jersey, Primoz Roglic, on today's stage. Up the road, Alex has 30, 40 seconds starting the little grind up to the finish there. It's a hard drag. He'll win the stage. Beautiful style for Astana and gain time on the general classification to move himself into the top 3 on the podium here for Tour of the Basque Country. But, and this is a big but, he won't grab the leader's jersey. Okay, Primoz Roglic, I'm sure he's back there. He's happy to give the leader's jersey away or happy to keep it as long as he doesn't have to work. And he's not giving it away to Tadej Pogačar. He's not giving it away to the Bora Hansgrohe rider Max Schachmann, who just got done winning Paris-Nice from him earlier in the season. Primoz was absolutely fantastic. If I have anything to nitpick about Primoz Roglic's ride today, it's that he let Tadej Pogačar get third and still time bonuses on the stage. It's a small problem when you're back there and you're more or less isolated. I know he had his teammate Jonas back there, but Jonas was hurting and couldn't do much help. Basically, Jonas's sole role back there was to try to finish in that group so that if something was to happen to Primoz Roglic before 3K to go, or if he was to crash, flat, have an incident, there's a bike exchange that Jonas can do. He didn't look fabulous. He never rode the front today. Jonas even lost time at the finish and gave up 4 seconds there on the general classification with a split that was caused amongst those favorites finishing at the sprinting for the finish at the line. Exciting day of racing. Jumbo Visma, they don't have the strongest team here. Could be we see in the coming stages. Tomorrow's an epically hard stage. Lots of mountain, and it's going to finish on a summit with another 100 miles. Another day at the Basque Country means it's another exciting day to watch. Tune in. Don't miss it. You won't regret watching the Basque Country. As I said, it's fast and furious. The stages are short and intense. Hope you guys like the butterfly effect. Tune in and I'll see you real soon.